The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Today on BCIT magazine, a Vancouver group finds that social housing is more unaffordable than ever.
And Vancouver's police pipers receive a special award.
Plus, Speak Up, Speak Out raises student awareness on mental health issues.
Hello and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Jen Hazel.
And I'm Kelsey Furlong. Vancouver real estate is more expensive than ever, and the downtown east side is no exception. One Vancouver group opposed to gentrification says rents in the area are at a record high and nearly impossible to afford on welfare. As Jillian Stead explains, the group says landlords and developers are to blame.
It's a message close to the hearts of many downtown Eastside residents. More social housing.
Pretty soon we won't have, a community left.
Brody Williams has been living in the downtown Eastside for 21 years. He was evicted from a low-income housing unit that was to be developed into bars and condos like this one. He didn't have the means to protest his eviction, so he says he was forced to move out of his community into South Vancouver.
But it was terrible. I had, it was 45-minute bus ride there, 45 minutes back downtown. There's no community, no friends, nothing, right?
It's because of stories like Brody's that the Carnegie Community Action Project started. On Monday, organizers came together to release their 6th annual report on homelessness. The report found that most SROs rented at around $425 a month, which is $50 more than the welfare shelter allowance of $375. 14 of the downtown Eastside hotel complexes rented at over $500 a month, which the group says is beyond the means of those living on social assistance.
And in 30 years, the rate of change in the downtown Eastside will be 10 to 1. So that's 10 units of unaffordable rentals or housing or owned housing to 1 unit of affordable social housing, which is really a far cry from the city's own policy, which it put in place in 2005 of 1-to-1 replacement, 1-to-1 rate of change.
I spoke to Vancouver City Councillor Adrian Carr, who says the city isn't holding up their end of the bargain. The loss of affordable housing, she says, stems from the fact that developers are not meeting affordability policy, something she says the city needs to hold them more accountable to. DJ Larkin is also calling for greater accountability from downtown Eastside developers and the landlords that hire them.
People are feeling truly pushed out of their homes so that people can raise the rent. There are laws in place that are supposed to protect renters, but our residential tenancy branch system is terrible. It is broken.
Last month, the city tabled a Downtown Eastside Local Area Plan, or LAP, which proposes a distinct category in the Residential Tenancy Act, which would clarify requirements related to eviction procedures and rent increases. The plan is expected to go to council on March 12th. Jillian Stead in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Federal NDP leader Thomas Mulcair made his first ever appearance in Richmond at Kwantlen Polytechnic University this week. Mulcair was invited to talk about energy and the environment, but was instead pressed on student-specific issues like debt and low voter turnout, an issue he says needs to be corrected by 2015.
The scariest statistic from the last election is that fully 2/3, 65% of young people aged 18 to 25 did not vote. That terrifies me. Oh, the scariest statistic, Harper got his majority. And the two are connected, because when young people stay home, the right wing wins and democracy loses.
Taking questions from the audience, Mulcair was asked why students should vote NDP. He answered by saying that, unlike his opposition leaders, he will keep his promises.
What we're going to do That's the big difference. We're not going to talk about it and then do something different or just allow it to continue the way it is. We're actually going to get it done, and I'm going to say that straight up to Canadians in the next election.
The federal election is tentatively scheduled for next October.
We're going now to our reporter, Jillian Stead, who was at Kwantlen and met with Mulcair. Now, Jillian, what is Mulcair going to do to get the student vote? He mentions keeping his promises, but what is it exactly that he's promising to students?
Well, I asked Mr. Mulcair what he planned to do with the youth unemployment rate here in British Columbia. If you recall back to last year, the Research Universities Council forecasted that by 2016 there would be a skills shortage here in British Columbia, yet there's an overabundance of young people who are educated but without work or overqualified for the jobs they currently hold. So I probed Mulcair, asking him what his plan was for students entering the workforce with student debt. Here's what he had to say.
No experience, no job, no job, no experience. So what do you do about that? Well, the NDP has a clear plan to give a tax credit to employers, especially small and medium-sized businesses, to create the jobs for the young people so that they can get their first experience, so that they can enter the workforce.
So if you remember back to the fall, the NDP called on the federal government to introduce tax credits to businesses hiring young Canadians in that 18 to 25-year-old age bracket. Under this proposal, businesses would be eligible for an amount of up to $1,000 for hiring young Canadians and, of course, for matching the funds for training that young employee. Mulcair, of course, quite vocal about this last week after the 2014 federal budget was released, criticizing the Conservative agenda, saying there wasn't much room in there for the hundreds of thousands of Canadians who are facing unemployment or are about to be facing unemployment. But the Conservatives, of course, are saying that they're reviewing the youth employment strategy to better align it with the current job market, promising all sorts of incentives, providing interest-free loans to apprentices registered in certain trades, and of course up to $40 million in internships in high-demand fields over the next 2 years. So we'll see what happens in 2015, but Mulcair right now running a very hard university college campaign, really reaching out to that 18 to 25-year-old age bracket. Back to you.
Thanks, Jillian. Vancouver police officers aren't just known for enforcing the law. In their free time, many are also musicians. And as our reporter Jeff Clowers found out, their talents are known around the world.
Now in its 100th year, the Vancouver Police Pipe Band is the official band of Vancouver, and with a history of community service and award-winning performances, the Pipe Band has become famous worldwide. The band's members were recently honored by City Hall with Vancouver's Freedom of the City Award. Pipe Major Cal Davis accepted the award on the band's behalf.
This is a great honor for the band. For 100 years we've entertained Vancouverites over several generations at numerous occasions throughout the city of Vancouver. We've also represented the city on over 30 international tours and some notable occasions including opening the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. We were the first pipe band from BC to perform at the Edinburgh Tattoo in Scotland. We were the first band to ever play the Changing of the Guard at the Citadel in Quebec City. And this is another great occasion for the pipe band.
Once inside, band members with their families in the audience were presented with a special booklet by Vancouver Mayor Gregor Robertson. Inside the booklet was a copy of the award and a decal that allows free parking at city meters. Mayor Robertson's signature then officially made Cal Davis and the rest of the pipe band the 85th recipients of the prestigious award.
Freedom of the City of Vancouver is hereby bestowed upon the Vancouver Police Pipe Band.
These men and women are tremendous ambassadors not only for the VPD, but also for the City of Vancouver, but also for the country of Canada. As you've heard, they represent our country and our city nationally as well as internationally. They practice the highest standards of musicianship and dress and deportment. So in other words, they sound really good, but they look really good too.
The band's next performance is February 25th at the Vancouver Police Foundation's Night Patrol Gala. Jeff Clowers in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
The Speak Up, Speak Out movement is aimed at reducing the stigma surrounding mental health issues. The group has been on BCIT's campus all this week, encouraging students to share their experiences with mental illness. My co-anchor Jen Hazel was there for the first day of the event. She found out just what students can do if they need help.
Teresa Wilson is a mental wellness advocate. She's at BCIT this week to remind students they're not alone.
I've had a few actual friends commit suicide in the past and others who've attempted, and my dad suffers from depression as well, so it's kind of something that's been reoccurrent in my life, and I just thought it's kind of time to, I don't know, do something to help people feel like they're not alone.
Along with encouraging words, Wilson is sharing the High Five campaign.
It's basically a pledge that says you're open and willing to talk about mental health. So we have different journals that we're circulating around campus, and it's people anonymously write whatever they want, basically, their personal history with mental health or their struggles, anything like that. They write in the journal and just kind of, pass it along to other people to read.
Speak Up, Speak Out is made up of fun events and workshops designed to remind students that help is available.
It's funny, 1 in 5 people in Canada will be affected by mental health in one way or another. And that 1 in 5 translates perfectly to campus as well, to BCIT as well. So I know that the counseling department is full of people who need some assistance, and we go and chat with them. So, and myself as well, students definitely come to see me and chat about their own mental illness issues.
Wilson hopes the week-long event will also remind students how important it is to take care of themselves and speak up about mental health.
There's so much stigma surrounding mental health that this is what we're really trying to work towards eliminating, because it's something that everybody struggles with in one way or another, right? So
there will be different events every day, with Doggy De-Stress rounding out the week. Jen Hazel in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up next on BCIT Magazine. After missing all of last season with a fractured foot, Omar Salgado is ready to make an impact for the Whitecaps this season. And Burnaby is now home to the Lower Mainland's only female kickboxing gym.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
A defining moment for me was when I finished my first internship and got lots of really great feedback from industry professionals.
I would have never imagined I'd be walking into the floors of TSN and thinking, I'm not a student anymore, I'm here to work.
I will be starting a job with an investigative news program in Toronto, and I'm really excited to see that grow into what will become, hopefully, my dream job.
BCIT Broadcast and Online Journalism, putting you to work.
Since 1991, 6 ships have been sunk and turned into artificial reefs in the waters around Vancouver. For the past 4 years, there have been plans to create another reef by sinking a decommissioned ship. On Monday, members of the Underwater Council of BC held a meeting at the Vancouver Maritime Museum to discuss the state of the Artificial Reef Society's Annapolis project. This would see the sinking of the HMCS Annapolis in Halkett Bay, north of Vancouver.
This project seemed to be stalled. It had been out there for a few years. And we knew from talking to shop owners, talking to divers, from our members, that there was a concern about whether the ship was going to go down and when it was going to go down.
Those attending the meeting were able to voice their concerns on sinking the ship and provide suggestions on how the Annapolis project should move forward.
It was a long off-season for the Vancouver Whitecaps. They missed the playoffs, fired their coach, and lost their leading goal scorer. But for the first time in a long time, the player the Whitecaps drafted first overall in the 2011 Super Draft will be healthy heading into the season. Our reporter, Suk Purwal, was at UBC earlier this week and has the latest.
It was a soggy practice out at UBC Tuesday as the Vancouver Whitecaps are getting set to play their final 3 preseason games before the regular season gets underway March 8th. The Whitecaps' first draft pick in 2011, Omar Salgado, has been out of the lineup a lot the last few seasons thanks to injuries, but comes into camp this year healthy.
It's been a year and a half really, so obviously just still trying to get back into the rhythm of the game and game speed.
Heading into the 2014 season, Salgado has high expectations for himself.
Yeah, obviously I want to start.
Yeah.
That's my goal. I mean, I want to start on March 8th. I haven't started ever on the first game, so I'm pushing for that. Hopefully, in Portland, those 3 games can get me that spot in.
Coach Carl Robinson knows that the 20-year-old American forward is one of the guys on his team who can make a big impact. But being one of the younger players on the team, Robinson is making sure to keep a level head on Salgado's shoulders.
Omar's got to realise his expectations as well. He's been out for 18 months, so it's a very difficult time for Omar, but he's only young. So I won't rush Omar back because he's had serious injuries. So I'll look after him. Obviously, I'll manage his expectations as well. He's seen his quality, and if he gets his head right, which I think he will, and I'll make sure he is, then he'll be a big piece.
Salgado may be a big piece for the Whitecaps this season, but he's going to need some help from his teammates to score goals. The Caps lost the league's leading scorer from last season after Camilo signed with a team in Mexico.
Obviously, there's 22 goals that we have to make up for, so I mean, we're going to have to do it in between all of us, and yeah, I feel the pressure to do it.
Not only is there pressure on the young American to score some goals, there's just as much pressure on him to make the team. There are a lot of young players on the team that are going to be pushing Salgado for a roster spot. And he'll get a chance to solidify a spot as a starter on this team when the Whitecaps play the first of the 3 remaining preseason games Sunday afternoon. Suk Purwal in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
We go now to our reporter, Suk Purwal, who was at the Whitecaps practice earlier this week. Suk, what are the Whitecaps looking like heading into the regular season?
Yeah, the Whitecaps still have 3 preseason games left. They're going to play those in 7 nights starting on Sunday. They have 31 guys on their roster still, so don't look for any cuts until after at least that first game. Having all those extra guys on the roster is going to be really beneficial in helping them stay fresh for the regular season because, as we know, playing 3 games in 7 nights is tough for anybody.
Thanks, Suk. Kicks for Chicks is a women's-only non-competitive kickboxing program. It's also the first of its kind in the Lower Mainland. My co-anchor Jen Hazel paid the gym a visit to find out what women are loving about this unconventional exercise.
Female kickboxing has hit the Lower Mainland, and it's proving to be more than just a good workout.
You just hit, you don't think, you don't feel, you just work and have fun.
Schultz has been kickboxing for a couple of years and credits the sport with giving her a much-needed sense of belonging.
From my first class, I was hooked. I've never been athletic at anything, and this was something that I was good at, and people told me that. And there were people who were excited to see me every day, and it was really exciting.
One of those people was Nicole Newart, the owner of Kicks for Chicks.
I've been teaching for 13 years. It's helping other women. It's the same effect that I've gotten, they get, and they feel stronger, and it helps them in every area of their life.
Newart admits kickboxing can be intimidating for many women, but it's a great chance to let off some steam.
Hitting things, that's fun.
It's that fun that keeps these women coming back for more, as they not only improve their physical health, but build lifelong friendships. Jen Hazel in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Coming up next on BCIT Magazine, a Vancouver bakery is selling cupcakes for National Cupcake Day to raise money for puppies in need. And a new game in Richmond is forcing players to face their fears.
I chose BCIT because I know that all the programs are very hands-on. We have our own radio station, like it's one of the best programs that I've ever heard of.
I am starting a job on Monday, so confidence is high.
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be this fun.
A defining moment for me was when I finished my first internship and got lots of really great feedback from industry professionals.
I would have never imagined I'd be walking into the floors of TSN and thinking, I'm not a student anymore, I'm here to work.
I will be starting a job with an investigative news program in Toronto, and I'm really excited to see that grow into what will become, hopefully, my dream job.
BCIT broadcast and online journalism, putting you to work.
Have you been meaning to go ice skating at Robson Square but just haven't gotten around to it yet? Well, this is your last week to cross Robson ice skating off your winter bucket list. The annual tradition, which started in November, ends on February 28th. So grab your friends, family, and loved ones and go for one last whirl around the classic ice rink. Well, if you're anything like me, the weather outside has probably gotten you a little down. So laughter may just be the best medicine to cure your winter blues. The Northwest Comedy Fest is happening in Vancouver and going until February 22nd. With comedians like Bobby Lee and Tim Daly, the laughs are sure to be rolling in. Life is hard, and I get that. So sometimes the best therapy is a nice cold glass of wine, or the bottle. The Vancouver International Wine Festival is the best place to unwind, and it starts on February 24th in places all over Vancouver. So whether you're a lover of red or white, the event offers wines from all over the world. I'm Mariah Beaton, and that is your community calendar.
In May of 1969, John Lennon and Yoko Ono took to their bed in Montreal in the name of peace. Many people came through their room that week as they staged one of the most famous anti-war protests of all time. One of the lucky photographers to pass through was an 18-year-old student on his first assignment. My co-anchor, Kelsey Furlong, caught up with this photographer to talk about his campaign to get his previously unseen photos published.
When John Lennon recorded the iconic song Give Peace a Chance in 1969, Roy Kerwood was there. 45 years later, he's left with a collection of photographs and, more importantly, the memory of time spent with his idol.
Being with John Lennon was the most interesting moment of my life.
Kerwood was an 18-year-old photography student when John Lennon and Yoko Ono staged their famous Bed In for Peace.
My first job as a photographer was going to be photographing John Lennon for a radio station. I don't think I slept for a while.
Kerwood has now started a Kickstarter campaign to help publish a book that will showcase the pictures he took during this iconic time. He plans to use the revenue from his book to help people achieve sobriety, being a reformed alcoholic himself.
I've had a dream ever since I got clean and sober to set up a recovery house, but a different recovery house on board a sailing ship for adolescent and young adults who've tried to stay sober but can't.
The Kickstarter campaign has raised $1,800 so far and has a goal of $10,000. Kerwood says the book will not only contain the photos he shot, but also the stories of his time with John Lennon.
I said, John, tell me about Strawberry Fields. What was that song about? He said it wasn't about anything, Ro, it was just a bloody song.
Anyone interested in donating to the campaign can find the page on Kickstarter. Kelsey Furlong in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
Next Monday, cupcakes can be used for more than just satisfying your sweet tooth. They can also help out a furry friend in need. Reporter Melanie Booth has more.
Meet Corey. She's an old soul who is new to the Vancouver SPCA. Her and other furry friends like her could use a helping hand. With National Cupcake Day happening next Monday, helping this cute face can be as easy as buying a sweet treat from local bakeries like Chiffon Patisserie. Ivana Chan says the decision to participate in National Cupcake Day was an easy one.
Why not? I love baking and I love furry animals, and combine the two, it's like perfect.
With every cupcake Chan sells, she will donate $1 to the animals in need at the SPCA.
I feel like they're so innocent. They can't tell you what they're feeling. They don't tell you what they need. And I know SPCA does a great job of what they're doing, helping animals, and I would just love to do as much as I can for them.
Corey and other animals at the SPCA benefit greatly from the money received every year on National Cupcake Day.
For us, what it means is we get more support. People are raising necessary funds to help animals in our care.
Last year, $400,000 was raised for Corey and other dogs and cats across the country.
They love it. They love it. But no chocolate cupcakes for you. No cupcakes. They have their own puppy cakes.
National Cupcake Day takes place Monday, February 24th at bakeries across the city. Melanie Booth in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Are you afraid of the dark? A new game facility in Richmond has players asking themselves that very question. The game is called Exit. Players are locked in a dark room for 45 minutes and their only task is to escape. My co-anchor, Kelsey Furlong, checked out the game despite being a little scared of the dark herself.
It seems like the premise of a horror movie. 45 minutes to escape from a dark, unfamiliar room before the ominous clock on the wall reaches 0. It's not a horror movie though, and people are actually paying for the experience.
My friend told me about it yesterday, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's just like a big real-life riddle that you can play out. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
Exit is a new game facility in Richmond where players pay to try to escape.
It was difficult, much more difficult than I thought. It was so much fun though. I mean, you're blindfolded going in, you have no idea what's going on, and then once the blindfold comes off, it's just this completely foreign environment that you were just in.
Justin Tang is the owner and says that Exit is unlike anything else you'll find in the Lower Mainland.
British Columbia is kind of like a boring place. I think that, yeah. Well, we have a lot of sports to do, but not something that extreme or unique. So I have decided to bring this unique experience to Canada.
There are 4 different themes to choose from, including ancient Egypt and an escape from prison.
You have 2 chances to ask for hints, actually. You have to look around, search around for clues, solve puzzles, solve riddles, in order to, well, we call escape.
Players' pictures are displayed in the lobby with signs that show whether they managed to escape or not.
Our success rate is actually 1%. Yeah, so 1 out of 100 that actually can escape from our room.
These 2 players are in good company as they pose with the popular failure signs. Their image will be forever immortalized, but with a promise to return, success will surely not escape them. Kelsey Furlong in Burnaby for BCIT Magazine.
And earlier this week, Jimmy Fallon sat down in the big seat. The funny man kicked off his new role as the host of The Tonight Show, replacing the legendary Jay Leno. It was a star-studded night with guests like Will Smith, Lady Gaga, Tina Fey, and a musical performance by U2. It is also the first time New York has been home to The Tonight Show in 40 years. If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us online at bcit-broadcast.com or bcitbroadcastnews.ca.
I'm Jen Hazel.
And I'm Kelsey Furlong, and that's today's BCIT Magazine. Thanks for watching. We leave you now with a look at our Vancouver Whitecaps playing in the rain.